When an injured stray dog suddenly stopped in the middle of the road, he brought traffic to a standstill. But what happened next shocked everyone. Carrie was having one of those days. The holiday season was barely over, and the rat race was already back in full swing. As an Uber driver, Carrie had been rushing across town all morning, barely having dropped off one rider when the next was already waiting for him by the curb. Not that he was complaining. He needed the money. Right now, he had a few moments to spare, but he needed to fill up, and the gas station was 2 blocks away. Carrie stepped on the accelerator, but then braked quickly as a dog limped right into the middle of the intersection, and then came to an abrupt halt right in front of his car. Carrie hooted. The dog stared back at him, but refused to budge. While Carrie liked dogs in general, they made him nervous right in the middle of traffic, so he hooted again. He was about to get out of the car to investigate when a delivery van pulled up alongside. The driver of Flowers Forever rolled down his window and shouted, "What's up, bro? Is there a problem?" Then he glanced at the intersection, saw the dog, and got it. "Well, will you look at that? As if the whole street belongs to him. Come on, doggy, move." But the dog was clearly unbothered by the driver staring and honking at him. He remained in the middle of the intersection, shifting his weight from one leg to the other, as if he had all the time in the world. "He doesn't seem to be in any hurry to do that," Carrie replied. But someone else was. The blaring horn of another car behind Carrie made him flinch. With one foot on the tarmac and a final glance at the dog, Carrie turned around to explain the reason for the pileup. A middle-aged woman glared at him. "What are you waiting for? Some people don't have all day. We're late for my daughter's piano lesson." Carrie felt himself getting irritated with her impatience, but fortunately, he had an ally in the driver of the Flowers Forever delivery truck. As the woman hooted again, the guy stuck his head out of the window and shouted, "Can't you see we're waiting for a dog to move away? Get it out of the road before I call the cops," she shouted back. "Too late," muttered the Flowers Forever guy as the swell of a fast-approaching police vehicle with sirens blaring could be heard. The traffic police car screeched to a halt, and one of the officers got out and sauntered across the tarmac. He raised his arms and said, "What seems to be the problem, folks?" "There's a dog," Carrie began, but before he could get any further, the little girl in the car behind him flung her door open and rushed towards the intersection. "Chelsea," her mother shouted, "come back here at once." But Chelsea ignored her mother because she had seen something that drivers hadn't noticed yet. She came to a stop right between Carrie's car and the Flowers Forever van. "Look," she said to no one in particular, "puppies. They're so cute." Everyone turned towards the intersection and noticed that she was indeed correct. Her mother came up behind her, and as she looked over at the road, all her impatient irritation melted away at once. Even the traffic officer soon had a goofy smile on his face. A mother dog and 5 puppies had gathered on the sidewalk, exactly opposite the intersection. At the sight of them, the dog in the street stood a little straighter and began to wag his tail. Still, he didn't move from his spot in the middle of the road. For a while, the onlookers wondered if he was too injured to keep moving. The way he kept shifting his weight from one leg to the other, and the lack of fur on the back of one of his paws, seemed to indicate a painful injury. "Can I go help him cross, Mom?" asked little Chelsea. "Absolutely not," replied her mother. And she was right, because that's when Carrie, the traffic officer, and the Flowers Forever delivery guy noticed that the light was about to turn green on the opposite side of the road. If the other drivers hadn't noticed the dog, or were crazy enough to think they could drive past without hitting him, the heartwarming scene would soon become heartbreaking. That's when the traffic officer remembered his duty. He planted himself right in the middle of the intersection and made sure that no vehicle moved in any direction. When the light turned green, several honks echoed on each side of the road, but no car moved. The female dog on the other side of the road put a single paw on the road and looked around. Then she put another and another until she was off the pavement. But still, the dog in the middle of the intersection didn't move. Only when the honking stopped and he was sure that no car would speed towards them did the dog turn to his family and give 2 short barks. That's when the situation finally became clear. He wasn't trying to reach them. He was stopping traffic to make sure that his family could cross safely. Reassured by the male's barking, the mother dog gingerly stepped into the street and began to walk briskly towards them. One by one, and in single file, the little puppies followed. Carrie pulled out his phone and noticed that he was not the only one recording this unique encounter. It seemed that everyone was charmed by the little canine family's progress across the street. As soon as the mother dog reached the other side, she turned around. One by one, her puppies stepped on the sidewalk. Being the good doggy mother she was, she took the time to inspect each of them with her nose to reassure herself that they were still in good shape. Now that his family was safe and sound on the sidewalk, the original dog finally gave up his post. With one last bark, he limped after them. Perhaps he was thanking the waiting motorists for their patience. Perhaps he was reminding his adorable little family not to leave him behind. Time stood still until the male dog was reunited with his family. All around the intersection, people whispered to each other about his cleverness. Dogs are known for rushing into busy roads without even looking left or right, but this one had not only waited until the intersection was fairly empty before stepping forward, but had also had the foresight to ask his family to wait until it was safe to cross. Many people were impressed at his quick thinking and also praised the female dogs and the puppies for their patience and orderly crossing. As the dog couple and their little family trotted down the street, everyone who had stopped to watch them got back to their own lives. The Flowers Forever guy had his delivery to make. Carrie's next rider was waiting, and young Chelsea was already late for her piano lessons. Nevertheless, the thought of the dog family, and especially the devotion of the doggy father to his girlfriend and their pups, kept all of them smiling through the rest of the day. The first clip of the dog family crossing the road was uploaded to social media that same afternoon. It seemed that the strays were quite well known in the neighborhood, and plenty of people had encountered them. Someone even knew the story of how the male dog had been injured in a car accident a year earlier. He had been running after a squirrel when he had suddenly crossed the road. An incoming driver had failed to brake in time, and the poor dog had been hit pretty hard. Thankfully, he had been able to limp away, injured but not too severely hurt by the impact. Small wonder, then, that he was so concerned about his family getting across the street safely. The video clip went viral, getting over 5 million views in less than a week. But the best news of all was the happy ending. After the dogs became famous, several people offered to give them a home, and they were adopted by a family with a large, sprawling house and a gigantic yard for them to play in. The new owner took them all to the vet, where the male dog's injured leg was treated, and the entire family was given the necessary vaccinations to thrive. They even created an Instagram account for the dogs, where the most adorable photos and video clips were uploaded daily. All was well again in town, and the once busy intersection was now free again. What a sweet sight! If you have a similar story about an animal that did something clever or heartwarming, tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear it. For now though, we're out of here. We'll see you in the next video.